Good morning. It's April 25th, Monday. Making my way from Cherry Gap Shelter to Hughes Gap for a relatively short hike, if you consider 6 hours and 12.7 miles short out here. But I woke up this morning and hadn't even thought about my IT band syndrome on my left knee. However, my ankles and calves were stiff as boards, so I hobbled around camp packing up tent. And then I squatted in my cat hole and got up, and I felt refreshed and alive. I can still feel my calf muscles tight, but it's nowhere near as painful as yesterday, so I'm glad that feels better today. I forgot what muscle it's called. It's in the inside of your calf. Not solstice, but I'll think about it. Solstoid? No. You guys let me know. It's warm. I gotta start thinking about what I'm going to pack and send home. Honey Baby just mailed me a package to Station 19E. So if it doesn't come tonight or tomorrow or Wednesday morning, I actually have to hike back up to Station 19E because I'm getting off Hughes Gap, which is before that, so I could check back for my package then. It's my new Lone Peak 6s and some vitamins that I didn't pack out originally to save weight, and maybe some hydration packs, meds, whatever. And she can't mail the fuel because it wouldn't be here in time, so I'll just keep buying fuel till I get closer to home where she can bring it. She supposedly visited me in a week or so. I gotta get to the bottom of that and where we're gonna be. Also have to think about what I'm sending home. Now that it's warming up, I find that I wore my Patagonia last night at dinner time because it chilled off, and when I was packing up camp. But I don't think I need a puffy and a Patagonia anymore. The puffy certainly weighs a lot less, so I'm tempted to keep that, but the Patagonia is just so much more versatile all season jacket. So if you have an opinion on that, do I carry the Patagonia that I know will keep me warm and is versatile, or do I mail that home because it weighs 14, 15 ounces and keep the puffy that I barely wore even in the winter? Except as maybe a second layer on those cold nights when I was hunkering trying to cook my meals. So I can save weight there. I have to revisit my bag liner. My original intention for the bag liner was an extra layer of warmth, which I found really handy at the first month of this trip. It was warm and cozy, and it was almost acting like a sheet in my bag, so I like that. However, I've learned to take my mummy bag, unzip it all the way, and treat it like a quilt. I can put my feet in the foot box because that stays zipped. So my feet are securing the bag in the foot box, and I can just whip off the top of the, I don't sleep in the bag. I just use it as a quilt, and I can whip it off, put it back on, put it back on at will, and still have the option of a mummy bag on a cold night. So I'm thinking maybe I should mail the bag liner home, because if I use it as a quilt, it shouldn't get as dirty, the sleeping bag that is. And the other intent of the bag liner was to keep my sleeping bag clean during the summer months when I'm sweaty and stuff or whatever. But if I'm just using it as a quilt or not at all, maybe I don't need the bag liner. Or I can send the sleeping bag home and just sleep in the bag liner in the warmer months. So if you have an opinion on that, let me know, because I'm really hesitant to send my mummy bag home because that's like your lifeblood, right? But if I'm just going to be quilting it, or it's going to be so warm I can use the bag liner, that's a lot of weight and size savings. So let me know what your thoughts are on that. I'm giving up this Folgers coffee idea in the morning. In my dreamscape, I was thinking about making coffee every morning, but I'm not cooking in the morning. I only cook at night when my hot meal is. So I'm not cooking in the morning. So I don't need the coffee mug that I got as a gift, which was very generous, but I just don't know that I need it on this trail. I've been using it to store all my stuff inside of my food bag, so it's handy for that. Loose materials like mayonnaises, hydration sticks, Folger coffee sticks. So it kind of organizes all that, so it's not a big deal. But I could mail it home and just use a baggie for that stuff. So that would save a little weight. I'm giving up on coffee sticks because pouring that Folgers instant coffee into a cold bottle and drinking it really is not palatable. And when I get up in the morning, I'm thirsty. I'm not coffee thirsty, I'm water thirsty or hydration stick thirsty. So I'm giving up on coffee except when I get into towns. I mean, I only drink 1 cup a day at my office anyway, so, or on the weekend, so it's not like I'm gonna get a raging headache. So I'll save that as a treat in town. So giving up coffee sticks. I can mail my mug home. Let's see. I don't want to mail home this foam pad because it's been really handy in the tent for keeping things clean and organized and not beating up my inflatable mattress by always sitting on that doing my packing and stuff like that. I love the pillow, love the tent. Yeah, it's double wall, but it's not the heaviest thing in my bag by far. Food is, and water. Clothes. Oh, so I barely wear my second. I usually just sleep in what I wore all day, but it has been cooler. So I probably use my backup shorts and t-shirt more as the summer months get on and everything's really stinky. That hasn't really happened yet, although it might be starting to. So I'll probably keep the second shorts, second tee. I'm going to keep the leggings just because they're super light and they don't take up much space. Might be able to offload my beanie for a while. I just don't know that it's that cold that I need the beanie. So I think I can save a pound or two if I mail some stuff home and see how that goes. And I'm sure there'll be opportunity to say, hey, let me get that back because it was really handy. My backup set of glasses I haven't worn once. My contacts I haven't worn once. It's going to get hotter and humid, so I'm probably going to need the contact. I don't know. But there's just, so when Honey Baby comes to visit me, I might be sending her home with a few things to lighten my pack. And I would appreciate your suggestions for some of the things you've seen in my video, especially with the bag liner, sleeping bag, and Patagonia versus Puffy scenario as the warmer months move on. So I'm going to get hiking. I have a shuttle arranged for 3 p.m. at Hughes Gap to take me to Station 19E, where there's wonderful craft beers, and Scotsman just told me that was his favorite place on the entire trail. So I don't usually like going someplace and then shuttling back and then passing through it again, but I'll make an exception in this case because it's supposed to rain tomorrow and tomorrow night. And besides, Philip talked me into it. So, all right, enough rambling. Man, what a difference when the trail is not constant rocks and roots and shadows. And you actually have some good footing. It's so much less stress on your body. And not being in pain every step this morning. And knowing I have a respite of only 12.7 miles. Man, it just makes the trail so much more like relaxing, and you almost just feel like taking your time and looking at all the bracket shelf mushrooms. You know, they sell that shit for $10 a bag now. I should be out here collecting that. just a big difference being sort of healthy. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, as I was getting out of Newfound Gap and getting into Gatlinburg following the miserable snowstorms, I saw that big sign at Newfound Gap that said "Welcome to Tennessee," and I mistakenly uttered, "I'm glad to be done with North Carolina," or something to that effect. And it was my own ignorance and probably partly delirium. But yeah, the trail has continued back and forth from Tennessee and North Carolina ever since and during the Smokies. So, however, I will be getting out of North Carolina in a few days for good, and then Tennessee finishes up, and then I get into Virginia. I have to look at far out to see how far out that happens, but getting out of North Carolina is, from a quick look, days. Then Tennessee is probably another few days. So, yeah, I just wanted to clear that up. And then people who heard me that know the trail probably knew I was an idiot right away. But for people who were maybe even paying attention, yep, still North Carolina and Tennessee. Anybody know what car that's from? Or truck? That was the third climb of the day, or morning. Probably the most intense of the three. So it started out as a casual cruise. It's been a good workout here. Headed back down and back up again. My goodness.
You all heading north?
Yeah.
Just right around the corner is a flat spot, you know, and a campsite, and day hikers walk up from Hughes Gap and stop right there.
So I declined walking off trail to a shelter that was about 1/8 of a mile for water and to have lunch. Thinking, okay, there's a water source another 1/4 mile up the trail. Well, I got there, and if it was obvious, if it wasn't obvious, it was either way off the trail or dried up. So then I ended up with my biggest climb of the day, and all 4 climbs today were more than I had hoped. I got a nice view out of the last one at least, but you know, I opted to pass up on water for time, knowing that the danger wouldn't necessarily be that bad, because ultimately 4 miles later I'm getting to Hughes Gap, where I'm getting shuttled to a place to stay. So But if it had been a different situation on this hot, dry day, because right now I'm kind of suffering, I'm thirsty, dehydrated, and I'm less than a mile from the gap, so I can live. But note to self, don't be lazy when it comes to time and water. You know, as wet as it's been, everything is dry. Forest fire season. A little sketchy, but it's gonna have to do. Yikes.
Printer has went on Fritz. That should have everything on your screen too. The John City pizzas if you're going to. I saw you, beer. I forgot. Well, I think I am.
Not sure I got another plate, but here it is. I took a shower, put back my Lorna clothes on, tripped over the floor. I guess that's where the dirty linens go. Yeah, so I showered, put back on my loner clothes because I don't want to get my hiking clothes dirty because I'm hanging out tomorrow. I don't know what's going on. Here we go. A sweltering hot attic with a fan and a death stare. I'll be pissing 7 times tonight. In my loner clothes. Right on stage, that's my bet. Playing a little Johnny Cash? What's your name?
Michael Lane, but they call me Cowboy. I know there's rich folks eating on them classic dining cars. They're probably drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free. But them people keep moving, and that's what tortures me. But if they free me from this prison, if that railroad train was mine, I'd pack it up and move a little farther down the line. Far from Folsom Prison, it's where I want to stay. And let that lonesome whistle blow my blues.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you, man. I
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Awesome. No, I appreciate it.
Try to kill it all away, but I remember everything. Oh, what have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away. And you could have it all. My entire day, I will let you down.
Oh, wait till midsummer.
I will
Wait till midsummer.
No, I know.